Imagine Costco. Now remove the roof, the trolley, the prices, the car park, and the legal right to return a half-eaten wheel of cheese. Keep the bulk quantities, the national supply chain, and the powerful urge to acquire more pork than one household could sensibly use. Move the whole operation to Wiltshire, around 2500 BCE, and you get Durrington Walls. Which is inconvenient, because this video is called, Was Stonehenge Britain's first Costco? The short answer is no. The interesting answer is that somebody near Stonehenge was doing Costco-sized logistics 4,500 years ago, and the evidence is spectacularly pork-based. First, we must separate the showroom from the food court. Stonehenge's main stone settings rose around 2500 BCE. At roughly the same time, about 2 miles away, Durrington Walls became a large settlement of timber houses, pits, hearths and rubbish heaps. It may have housed people building Stonehenge. It may also have welcomed people attending ceremonies. Almost certainly, it was where a great many people slept, cooked, ate, argued over firewood and discovered that communal accommodation has always required earplugs. Stonehenge itself contains surprisingly little everyday domestic debris. The great piles of food waste are at Durrington. So Stonehenge was the monumental destination. Durrington Walls was the seasonal construction camp, festival ground, and bulk food court. Excavators recovered more than 38,000 animal bones from the main midden. Across the wider assemblage, English heritage estimates at least 1,000 animals are represented. About 90% of the bones and teeth were pig. Most of the rest were cattle. This was less a balanced buffet and more a hostile takeover by pork. Many joints were discarded before every scrap of nutrition had been extracted. In a world where raising an animal required months of work, that waste signals abundance and display. The point was not merely to avoid starvation. The point was to feast so generously that tomorrow's archaeologists would feel faintly judged by their packed lunch. Burned foot bones suggest pigs were often roasted over open fires. Cattle were chopped into pieces, and fats absorbed into pottery confirm that meat was processed in vessels as well. Membership requirement, apparently, bring a pig. But Durrington was not simply eating local. The proof is not a receipt. It is a tooth. As teeth grow, their chemistry records clues from local geology, climate, and distance from the sea. Researchers analyzed pigs from Durrington and other Wessex ceremonial sites using several isotope systems. At Durrington, 89 pigs were assessed. Under the study's strict local criteria, only 13 matched the local signature. 23 of the 86 pigs with usable sulfur results carried a marine-influenced signal, even though Durrington sits about 56 kilometers from the nearest coast. That does not give each pig a precise hometown. Isotopes identify compatible landscapes, not a Neolithic postcode. But the overall pattern is unmistakable. Animals arrived from a remarkably wide catchment. Cattle teeth tell a similar story. Many animals did not grow up on the local chalk, and complete skeletons suggest livestock generally arrived alive or as whole carcasses, probably driven on the hoof. Picture the journey. Families crossing Britain in winter with pots, supplies, children, cattle and pigs that had not been consulted about Wiltshire. The real signature product was an isotope signature. Their cookware was a decorated, flat-bottomed style archaeologists call grooved ware. Food molecules soaked into the porous clay and remained there for scientists to analyze thousands of years later. The residues include pig fat, ruminant carcass fat and dairy products. Pig products appear more often in domestic house pits. Dairy residues cluster especially around the southern circle, a timber monument used as a public or ceremonial space. So the household aisle leaned pork. The ceremonial aisle may have featured cheese. Archaeologists also found hazelnut shell, crab apple, sloe, and some tubers. Plant food preserves badly, so the absence of cereal equipment at this settlement is not a license to declare vegetables illegal. This was a varied cuisine, but the surviving evidence is dominated by an absolutely industrial quantity of meat. Many pigs were killed in their first winter, before reaching ideal meat weight. If most piglets were born in spring, their age points to a major winter gathering. That fits the monuments. The southern circle at Durrington faced midwinter sunrise, while Stonehenge strongly emphasized midwinter sunset. It is tempting to schedule the feast to the exact solstice, but the bones do not come with calendar invitations. The responsible conclusion is a winter gathering, very plausibly connected with midwinter ceremony. In retail terms, this was the seasonal rush, except the queue had walked for weeks and parts of it kept wandering off to eat acorns. Raising the great stones required hundreds of workers, and many more people providing rope, timber, tools, shelter, childcare, and food. Large projects fail when enthusiasm meets an empty cooking pot. Durrington shows the support system: houses, hearths, vessels, livestock, and a network broad enough to pull communities toward one place. We do not know whether laborers were paid, obliged, honored, fed as guests, or motivated by a complicated mixture of all four. There is no evidence of tills, prices, membership cards, warehouses, or formal retail. What we do have is organized bulk provisioning for a temporary crowd on a monumental project. That is Costco-scale coordination without Costco-style commerce. And was it Britain's first? Not as a feast or gathering. Causewayed enclosures had brought communities together for food, exchange, and ceremony centuries earlier. So the final verdict is no, Stonehenge was not Britain's first Costco. It was something more interesting. A monumental destination beside a short-lived settlement capable of feeding crowds, moving livestock across enormous distances and turning midwinter into a pan-British event. Less warehouse club, more national potluck with a construction project attached. Stonehenge was the sign by the road. Durrington Walls was the food court. And 4,500 years later, Britain is still travelling unreasonable distances for a very large meal.